down to layman's terms.
Yes.
Right, so then.
With Thomas here, would you say that that's actually what we're doing today? He's our subject matter expert?
So he is our subject matter expert, right?
Also
I mean, it kind of started like that.
An advanced vibe coder at the same time.
Yes, but I mean, that's really where it started, and then we thought about actually building something, and there you go, that you were talking about your neighbor, and I had that aha moment that I needed to connect the two of you, and which is really funny because it seems like we started out with like Toma having some of the work already done with his ideas, and then when you came in, you guys really partnered together and brought Sam. And I think it's been a really interesting journey just for me as a non-technical person in this area, looking at it from the outside. I think that our team has really matured quite a bit because we came into this topic really thinking about, oh, we can do this real quick. Yeah. And, launch in September, yes. Right? Yes. Now we're 6 months later, and we've realized that great. The coding part is really the easy part, but we still need to do a lot of other things to kind of fix some of the bugs and do the user testing and see where we can improve. So, but I want to ask you, from a person that does this on a daily basis. What is your experience versus what you've been doing before, like throughout the rest of your career building software? Yes.
So that's a great question. I would say before these vibe coding apps existed, there was this lag between product discovery, customer calls, market discovery, and then putting together your product requirements document and all those artifacts that you have to hand over to engineering. There was always this lag, and then engineering is then looking at that PRD document, wondering, okay, how do I prioritize the best? And then they're writing the really technical tickets. The great thing about these vibe coding apps today, like Lovable, like Replit, and others, is that you can move really quickly from customer intent to a prototype, like in the same day. Yeah. So you can, in theory, get off of a call with a client or off of a call with your CEO who has some market idea, and you can show them, okay, is this what I heard? And you can show them the prototype in a couple of hours. Yeah. And there's nothing like a visual aid for an engineer. The engineer can really get it if you show them, okay, this is the pain point, and this is the way that we solve it with this software. That could just make them move really quickly. So I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, no, that's really interesting. And now, I want to ask you, Toma, you come from, where do I start? Music background, right? And then into real estate. You and I have known each other for such a long time, and we've kind of been through many ups and downs of the real estate, and of course you have many years seeing what the market does, and being on the list of top 4 in Philadelphia, which is amazing, right?
Yeah, rental, not for sale.
Rentals, okay, sure, yes, rentals, but rental volumes, which I, as a customer, I could say that. You're obviously a person that puts your heart and soul into anything you do. So, I think it comes from that artistry background. Now, how does all of that really compare to vibe coding? And connect the dots for us on how you thought about this really awesome idea that we're going to talk about right now. And what really got you thinking, and I know you and I were talking about this for a little while, and you wanted to do it, and life was really busy. But tell us, how did you think about it?
Laziness. I feel like that is the root of all the invention, because you don't want to go and get a bucket and get water from the river. No, you build something to get. You're gonna put so much more hours into actually building the system, so then you don't have to do a 20-minute walk every day. So that's and then vibe coding sounds amazing, but then the beginning is like a walk in the park by hour 4 or 5, you're about to pull your hair. Like, that's one thing about it, and it's like that's the thing about it. It's as a proof of concept is great as the validation of idea. Anything to kind of put together and do a couple of functions is perfect. But then in real estate, so many edge case scenarios, so many ways for things to go wrong, and then you get sued. So that's right now, unfortunately, got into this whole thing of constant testing. But I think only 64% I'm going to get sued, likeliness of getting sued. See right now with the so it's much better than it used to be. But yeah, like the thing is that just with rentals, it's just the volume is for one person, 2, 3, however many people is a little bit hard to digest because the commission
inquiries, correct?
The inquiries, like just to see through all of the inquiries, just to be like, hey, yes, apartment is available in 3 months, and people don't read description. They want,
they want the answer right?
Like, exactly, and it's everything in description, and then they would rather text than just to look through Zillow or things like this, and that is where LLMs would be perfect for this because they're natural language, and then it's a lot of the things are already there in terms of like square footage, bedrooms, bathrooms, and then some other things like pet policy. You as the owner, you're not going to be like 1 year I'm going to have pets, the other one I'm not. It's more or less predictable. So once the system is there, once it has the information, can service a client without issues. And then later on, when there's more edge case scenarios, that's when I can step in and or anybody else. And
that human touch in there.
Exactly. Because honestly, I think it's right now funny thing. Everybody's trying to do the AI app that does everything, but whenever you're dealing with the AI app, you're like, oh, we get human.
It's not there yet.
Human. That's like right away.
I'm one of those people.
Rachel tried to get HVAC technician to fix washer and dryer. And AI promised the world is going to be there in 2 hours, and then it's too good of a story to happen. That's right now. That's why so much testing, so much to do right now, and that's why the barrier to entry is so low right now. But to actually do something, you need to have actual engineers to set up proper system, project managers, because that's another thing.
It's tough.
And just in general, like having full-on structure, because then people can specialize. CEO can hunt for the best talent. Project manager can make sure things don't get stuck, and then and so on and so on and so on.
So am I correct to say that with vibe coding, you're not necessarily saying we don't need coders anymore, because we do have a coder, right? You can jumpstart and accelerate the development, but then you really need everybody else to do exactly what they were doing in a software development company, right? To make sure that you're doing the user testing and making sure that it's actually doing the job that it's supposed to be doing, right? Not sending you a plumber instead of a HVAC technician, right?
Yeah, I think it depends. I think there's a lot of thinking around that, these vibe coding capabilities. Claude, the lead developer on Claude said this coding will go away. That'll be the end of coding. Will be like calligraphy. It's just kind of something. But I think what makes us different, perhaps what sets us apart, is that we do, at least today, have a software engineer on our team who is looking at our code and helping us organize those folders so that inevitably when we get bugs or customers reach out, we know where to look. Now, of course, the vibe coding helps you fix bugs really quickly, but sometimes a lot of that back and forth can be tedious, and so we're really grateful that we have an engineer on the team. And then, to your point, Toma, there in this specific space of real estate, there are some edge cases and the way that we wanted to serve our customers, which will be the real estate agents, it made sense to have an engineer kind of look at that code and make sure we had everything set up correctly. We don't want anything breaking on the real estate agent's behalf, who's actually our customer, because they're talking to customers. I will say another thing that sets us apart, Nigar, and I know that we talked about this a lot, was we wanted to build apps, and we know how to do market requirement, we know how to do market discovery, we know how to do competitive intelligence. We can put all that together, but there's just nothing like having a subject matter expert on the team.
Exactly.
So we were so grateful that we could get Toma, because not only is he a subject matter expert, but he does love tech, and he's always on the cutting edge of tech. So we have someone who's can bring that, like all the knowledge of the pain points and all the opportunities for us to solve, and then he's also diving in and fixing it. So think of if it was, 5 years ago, it was someone who was working in industry and building their own Excel spreadsheet because the application didn't exist to help them get from A to Z. Oh, and by the way, we have another team member who did just this thing, but we'll talk about that in another podcast. The same thing with Toma. He's doing this day in, day out, and he built a tool to make his life easier. So we're just so grateful that we have these subject matter experts on our team.
That's
Almost
actually
validated
really
from the
interesting.
start.
I would call it real estate IQ, right?
Yes.
And coming from my world and the dental world, we call it the dental IQ, which is really interesting. If you think about being a customer-centric development, you really want to have IQ in that industry. You want to be able to know your target audience so well, right? You want to have lived the life of that, your customer to, a day in the life of a real estate agent, and having gone through the pain points of so much volume of inquiry coming in and not knowing which one to respond to, or endless hours of trying to respond and going back and forth, and then also losing deals because you were just only one person trying to respond to people, right? And then you have landlords calling you and saying, when is my apartment getting rented, right? So we've had that experience, right? And so just having seen the pain that Toma has gone through as a real estate agent, I think the saying that they say no pain, no gain, that's exactly what it is, right? Like you went through the pain of actually having a lot of business, not being able to handle a lot of it or all of it. Now having a team and really understanding that, if I had a tool that could actually bring in all of the leads and harvest them, right, for lead harvest, and then really sparse through them, be able to automatically respond, look at the calendar to kind of see how do we schedule the showings, what is their availability, does the person qualify. These are all requirements, as you said, like the LLM could actually solve, where it doesn't really need that human touch, right? And then when it gets to the actual human touch, that's when an actual person it shows up at the door, opens the door, shows the apartment, talks about all of the benefits, talks about the landlord, and answers the specific questions that the person wants to know about. And I think that mix of the two is really what makes this solution specifically so successful, in my opinion, right? And having been a renter before, I feel like initially you just want to see the apartment, and you also don't want to be disappointed to show up at the apartment and not know whether you can afford it or not, right?
Yeah,
So
no, that's great.
Yeah, and having that input, all those requirements that Toma brought to the table, and really being able to materialize it into the app and building something that could actually be in the day, be the real estate agent's buddy throughout the day. I think that's really important. So let me ask you both. We thought about launching the solution a lot earlier than this. Tell us what happened. How did we go through this journey, and what are we doing now? And
I'll say that's a great question. I'll add. Another great thing about having a subject matter expert on our team was that not only did you bring the requirements, but you helped prioritize and draw a circle around what needed to be out there. You knew very clearly what in the product world, what we would call like the minimum viable product to start testing. and you had a real opinion about what that needed to be.
Yeah.
And there was no question in your mind, and maybe the length was of time before we launched was grew a little bit because we had someone on the team who had a strong voice about, if we do not have this, like, no, it's not going to be sticky, we're not going to get usage. So that we have a much more polished app, I think, than had we just gone out with something testing, and if it was just a product person just validating. We already had someone on the team who could validate all that for us and already had an opinion about exactly what he would buy himself. So that is perhaps what lengthened the time period. I'll also say we are building, this is a B2B app. Sure. It's not a direct to consumer. I think when you're building those consumer apps, there's some forgiveness there. You can make those really simple, and sort of I'm thinking like a fitness app can be really simple, and you can build that really quickly and ship it. But something like this is a little bit more technical, and since it's B2B, our customers are the real estate agents who are then going to turn it on for their customers for those inquiries and the people reaching out to rent. So we want to make sure that we have everything buttoned up.
It's a little bit more riskier,
It's
right?
a little bit more riskier, and we just want to make sure that our customers can trust us, and we're putting out a much more polished product. So I'm actually very happy about the timeline. I'm okay that we took a little bit more time with our testing, and I'm very proud of the features that we're releasing with, and that we didn't just release earlier on with, to Tomas' point, it wouldn't have been the full baked experience that we really needed to, there's arguments about what minimum viable product really means, and so would you add anything to that, Toma? Maybe our learning curve of vibe coding, that goes without, can't go without saying.
Yeah, because I feel like everybody's dream is build me a CRM app, and then it can be 90% there, and then the last 10% is just playing a whack-a-mole, just one thing works, and that's why, because if you build something and then it's an LLM, it predicts what's the next most likely word is going to be. It doesn't have the full picture. So, and then there is a way to vibe code correctly. You have to. It is, and then we try different apps. We try different ways to go about it. I think Lovable was the best one, just because you see the result right there. It's right here. So you can, okay, I don't like it. Scrap it. Next one. And then so a lot of iteration happened there. So that's. Why all the deadlines were pushed a little bit more and more and more, but because there is a way to vibe code that it's more sustainable, and then because the last 10%, that's going to be the most difficult thing.
Yeah.
And just in real estate, it's, as you said, like a fitness app. You can, if something goes wrong, the most terrible thing is going to happen is that bodybuilder will think that just a very strong day. It was a very successful day, or a bad day, one of those things,
Yeah.
And then
although you could be sued for that, right?
Well,
You told me I burned
walked
700 calories.
it's like just look at, oh my gosh, I can deadlift to 700 pounds. It's so flattering. That's so that's in real estate it was like a little bit more back and forth, but that's why as a non-technical person, that's why it took a little bit, that's why having an engineer there being like, hey, why wouldn't you go this way?
Remind me this is really interesting, because it was just the three of us to start, and there was a point in our conversations that we decided that we really needed someone that knows how to code, and I think you were going to meet with your brother, who's also an engineer, and Thomas said, I know someone, but I don't remember exactly when it was, and that it was kind of like the turning point that we said, okay, we're good where we are, but in order to move forward, we really need Sam.
And that's a good story too, because the two of you sort of worked on this at Temple, correct? It was kind of your capstone project, right?
It was like in 2020 something. It was like 2019. That's because I had this idea. I was like, why wouldn't a computer just take care of me? Oh, I think something turned off really quickly. I'm just gonna see what it was. I think this one is still running in 20 minutes.
This is running too.
Still running, and then, oh, phone storage full. There we go. I'm like, this one is so let me just pause it for a second.
Okay.
Okay, boom. This again, it will stitch together. But